Back on Inside Smoky Mountain Conference this week, and we've got a guest with us. So Jake West and I do a lot of predictions, and this week is a big week. Murphy Bulldogs hosting the Swain County Maroon Devils, and I don't know whether to call you the Bear or the Maroon Devil, but Gary Ayers, who's been the voice of radio and now the Maroon Devil Network. You see it on TV. Gary, how are you doing these days? And how's it been to watch the Maroon Devils over the season?
Hey, I tell you, Brandon, it's always good to sit down and talk football with you, but it's been it's always kind of a labor of love with these Maroon Devils, and I'm a diehard fan, obviously, win, lose, or draw. So it's always great, and it's hard to believe that we're coming down to the last 2 weeks of the regular season.
Well, now from a Murphy perspective, we love that it's a labor of love for you this time of the year, because. But anyhow, let's talk about Murphy Swain in just a few moments. I'd like to get your thoughts about the conference. Man, this conference is always competitive, and whether
really
and the big one this year has been Andrews, and it's such a different stir of the pot because. Well, Andrews hasn't been on top for a long time, but it's give them their due this year. And then also Robbinsville, they've had their ups and downs, and a good one this week, Cherokee Hayesville. But let's start off with the Andrews for just a few moments. What do you think?
Andrews is the best I've ever seen. Just end of story. They're balanced. They run the ball. James Phillips is doing an outstanding job over there. So this is the year I think that some of those fans have been waiting for forever, because they really are a solid team. Now, the Murphy Bulldogs have a lot to say because they're going to be playing Andrews, I think, for a conference championship in a week or so. But Andrews is still right now the big dog, so to speak, in the Smoky Mountain Conference. But I've never seen the conference this balanced. This conference this year is just unbelievably balanced from top to bottom.
Well, you've got good players, Isaac Weaver and Austin Martin, and I don't want to leave anybody out, but all of these guys, Waldrop through the line. I mean, it's just all the way through. But then also good coaching too, and there's a big Swain connection there with Manley and Phillips and everybody else. So it kind of has that little bit of family feeling for you, I imagine.
Well, it kind of does. You want those guys to do well, except when they play the Maroon Devils. But they're really good people, James and Matthew Manley, and of course Frank Manley's over there, and we wish them the best. And they are having a good program in so many ways. And but when you get into the playoffs, I think it's going to be interesting to see how all the Smoky Mountain Conference teams do, because I think we're all obviously going to be there in one seed or another.
Robbinsville and Andrews meet up this week, and Cutler Adams has been the Cutler show.
Yeah.
He's gotten all the yards, but how many Adams does it take? The question is, how many Adams does it take to make up a Robbinsville team? But apparently like 5. And I'll tell you what, and I'm not joking, they do really, really well at all the Bryce Adams now at the quarterback, and then Brock, and then Cutler, and Cooper ran the ball really well at the end of that Murphy game this past week. So what do you think about this? This is going to be a competitive game coming up for this week.
I think it will, because I think Robbinsville is going to try to bounce back. I don't think they felt good about the way the Murphy game came out, with especially with a lopsided score that it was. So I think Robbinsville is going to come back with something to prove against Andrews, and I think they want to prove that, hey, we're in the conference championship race. We're still in it, even though we have a loss. So Robbinsville, I think, is going to come out with fire in their eyes, because they're too good to have the result they did last week.
Let's talk about Hayesville now. Not that good of a ball game with Swain, and 27-7.
Right.
But Swain giving up the ball there in some short field position, and you had another quarterback, Gabe Lillard, working their way through. What happened in that game?
Well, I think the turnovers were big. You can't get inside the 30-yard line and turn the ball over. The Maroon Devils have had that situation most of the year in crucial situations, turning the ball over. Of course, our normal starting quarterback, Reese Winchester, is still hobbled just a little bit. He's getting closer to 100%, But Gabe Lillard is a really solid athlete. He's a good baseball player. He's a good football player. He came in and started at quarterback. But Hayesville is an underrated team. This is probably the best Hayesville team we've seen in some while because their quarterback is an outstanding game manager. He was 11 for 11 passing. Their defense played good football. Avery Leatherwoods is probably as good an athlete as anybody else on the field. So Hayesville is another team that makes this Smoky Mountain Conference so balanced this year.
And Cherokee's going to attack them too because these two teams not wanting to be at the bottom of the Smoky Mountain Conference.
You know, Cherokee is probably the scariest team in the league right now.
Right.
And I had a coach tell me this from his own players that Cherokee plays as hard and their linemen are as tough as anybody in the league. So don't ever count Cherokee out.
I think you hit the nail on the head right there with the linemen.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, if you turn your back, then Zoe Smith and Chase Calhoun and Driver will burn you.
You're right, and Cherokee they have that pride, so they're going to show up, I think, and they're going to realize, hey, we're still in this thing. Don't count us out yet. Our record may not show it, but Cherokee is they always have the good athletes, no matter what year it is. The athletes are always there. So don't ever say that's an automatic win because when you say that, that's when it's going to bite you.
Round out our visit here for a few moments because time's running a little tight for us. But we want now out there, Murphy. We want you to hear J.R. Carroll a whole lot. Say first and 10 Bulldogs. But hey, look, one thing that's really shown itself here, a new thing. And really a good facet has been the passing game. Now, Hunter Stalkup had 309 yards carrying against Robbinsville this past week, 3 touchdowns. But when you had like 10 of 11 passing from Cole Laney out to his receivers, that was big.
Outstanding. When you have a balanced attack like that, and Laney threw for 4 touchdown passes and over 200 yards, and when you combine that with Hunter Stalkup running for over 300 yards, that's a defensive coordinator's nightmare. When you have that balanced kind of attack, it's going to be hard on any defense to slow that down. If Murphy can keep that up, Andrews better watch out when they play for the conference championship game.
And going to be a challenge for Swain this week, I guess?
It's going to be a huge challenge. Talking to Coach Sherman Holt earlier this week, he realizes what Murphy did to Robbinsville, and Robbinsville has a very good football team, obviously. So, yeah, I think there are a lot of interesting twists in the Murphy-Swain game. But as you know, when those two teams get together, who knows what's going to happen?
It's always fun.
It is.
And I think there's for 48 minutes you get to go against your 45-mile neighbor who's 45 miles down the road. As JR will say, what's the difference between heaven and the other place? It's 45 miles, 50 miles, something like that. But anyhow, hey, Gary, it's always good to visit with you. And anything before we let you roll? Now, you're not just the Maroon Devils, but Catamounts have a big game. Well, just throw that in there for a moment. Those guys from Charleston Citadel's coming up to face Western.
Oh, no doubt. We got to deal with that triple option offense where they like to keep the ball basically 59 out of 60 minutes. So it's going to be a challenge, but I think the Catamounts can score on anybody. Now we just got to slow down the Citadel Bulldogs this Saturday, and hopefully we'll get to play with the ball a little bit.
Well, just since you have that hoodie on, we'll say, and I always say this to Sherman Holt, but go Maroon Devils.
we wear it with pride. Win, lose, or draw.
All right. Well, we'll see you in Murphy this week. All right. Gary Ayers joins us here on Inside Smoky Mountain Conference.